Welcome to another screencast by Scientific Remodeling System. In the last screencast, I showed you the design board in the Trello series, and in this screencast I'm going to show you the handoff to production, and we're going to use the mansion bath as our example again. And then I will have this board available for premium members, and all the contracts within it will be available to premium members of SRS. So without further ado, let's take a quick look at this and then we'll start filling it out. The first list, as you remember, this is the organization. It's mansion bathroom project. This is the board, this is a list, and this is a card. It's good to get those terms down. So the first list is contact info, and that's where we're going to put the card that has the mansion info on it. Pre-construction conference, contracts, drawings, purchase orders, product selected, miscellaneous info, and first day checklist. So that's the list we're going to be discussing today on this board. So we don't have our contact information here, so let's go back to our design board where it is, and these are the things that design would hand off to production. So go to our boards, the design phase, and here's the mansion contact info. So this has all the information, it has the lead sheet, and it says that all these things have been checked off and done with this client. So we're going to move this. We're not going to copy it because we only want one copy of this, and because this is how we track all the information with this person. So we're going to move it to the next phase, mansion handoff to production, and the list is going to be the contact info, and we'll leave it in the second position in that list, and we'll move it, and we go back to our board. And you can see that we have that. It's very simple to move things. In the next list, pre-construction conference, post notes from the PCC here attaching the completed and signed PCC contract here. And there is a template here for the checklist that is available to free and premium members of scientificremodelingsystem.com. There is a contract, and you can pick up a list of those contracts here by clicking right there, premium members only, and the contract is signed. So when we look at this, this is a good time to point out one of the details. If we click on open in new tab, that would open, if it's a PDF, it would open it in a new tab. If it's a file like that, it merely opens a blank page, blank tab, has no use at all. But if you want a quick look at it, just click right here, see, and you can quick look at any document without downloading it, see. So it's really handy. So there's the pre-construction conference that's been signed off by the client, and we can move that over into our contracts. Okay, and this next one is where all the contracts reside. Move any contracts from the design phase to this list. You can also attach relevant contract copies to cards so that the production has access to them. And we have the PCC, we just move that over here. The proposal contract template can be found. There's a link to it here. Permits, you might want to file zoning info. That could be zoning, variances, anything that needs to be attached to this job. And then the change order template, you can also get that. Premium members can get that. And then the change order 1 and 2. And 1, you can see it already has an attached change order, so we can look at that real quickly. You can see the change order. That's just a blank change order, but to show you the example. So what we need to do is move our contracts over here, and we'll go back to our design board. So there's a number of contracts here we need to move, and when you go to this card, hand off to production, and look at cards to move to the next phase, hand off to production. Open that up and you can see the contact info card, we already moved it, the design retainer agreement, estimate agreement if you have one, a final estimate card, the proposal, move it to the contracts list, and any other relevant contracts and documents, move them to the contact list. So we can start here with the design retainer agreement form, not the form but the signed contract copy. We can open that up and see that that's been signed, the design agreement. And let's now move that to the design phase, the handoff to production, and the contracts. And the 10th position is fine. We can rearrange that later. We also have a contract proposal that's been signed. You can see that. And this is all available to premium members. This is a fantastic proposal. Used it for 20 years and it works great. So let's move that over. You can see how simple this is to do. And we'll move it to contracts, 11th position, that's fine, move. And that's all of them we have here. So let's go back to that board. So we have our contact info, we have our proposal contracts. It's the same one, absolutely great the way these move around. And the design retainer agreement, and we have a change order. Now here's an interesting point I'll make. You know that you can turn a card over and you can attach something to it by choosing a file, but you can also drag a file onto here like that, see? But there is a third way to do this, and it's really a great shortcut. Let's take the change order 2 and let's bring it down and drop it on the front of that. See, so you don't even have to turn the card over. It makes it really easy. So you turn it over and you can see the change order 2. So really a simple way to move things around. Okay, so now we have our contracts over here. Everything's available to whoever has permission to see this board, and it's org visible. That means it's visible to the organization. Any member you invite to this board, maybe your receptionist, you the owner of course as administrator, the project manager, and the lead carpenter would all have access to this, and then they could see all of these things and get to them. The next item is very straightforward. Attach links to drawings in these cards. So if you have the floor plan, as-built drawings, elevations, sectionals, you can drop all these in here. So once again, they'll all be available online to anyone who can see this board. And purchase orders, place selected products that have purchase orders here. Ideally, these cards should come from the design phase product selected card. You don't want to make them again, or you make a new card for each approved purchase order. Put the due date on the card when delivery is expected. Sort cards, placing received purchase orders at the bottom of the list. Keep the ones you're still waiting on at the top. And when you turn that over, just a little description here. Attach the purchase order to each card. Note that when the checklist icon on the front of the card turns green, which means all items have been checked off, that item has been received. Drag that item to the bottom of the list. Add other items to the checklist as necessary. So The next thing is very, very similar. All products, it's product selected. All products selected from the design phase without purchase orders will be moved here. And you can see we have a template here, and this has all the contact information, model number, style, finish, color, price. They can deliver by this date and who ordered it, and the checklist, which is on every item: vendor contacted, items ordered, item received. So when those are all checked off, if you check them off like that and then take a look at the front of the card, you can see that's been received. So let's go back over to our design phase. This is what the designer is supposed to do, is to move this stuff over there. And we have products selected. There's a master vanity for the master bath, and that's put over here. You can see this does not have a work order attached to it. It is just filled out, and this person has agreed to sell it for this price, but there's no no purchase order for this item. So let's move that, the vanity for the master bath, open that, turn it around, move it to the handoff to production, and we'll move this to product selected because it didn't have a purchase order. In the third position, move that. And then here's one with a purchase order. It's a lighting purchase order, and there's the document. So this could contain all the lighting for this project. It's much simpler to do that than it is to type all these cards out. This is the simplest way to do it. So let's move this card, the lighting purchase order, to the handoff to production. Let's move it. And we're going to move it to the handoff to production, the purchase orders, the third position, and move. And now this has been cleared out. And we'll go back to handoff to production, and you can see that lighting order right there. All right, so now we have our contracts moved over, all our drawings linked here. We have our purchase orders, product selected, and while I'm here, I do want to show you what kind of contracts the premium members have. If we go to proposal contract template, click here to get your copy. You have to be logged in as a premium member to get this, but it is just almost all the contracts you need to run a remodeling business now. We have the new lead sheet that's fillable, the design retainer agreement, the revised summary quote form, brand new, never given this out before, new proposal form, new purchase order form, request for quote work order. It's a double form. You use it for both items. And the revised subcontractor agreement. Extremely important that you have your subcontractors agree to your rules of conduct. And when they sign off on this, this says that they agree to basically follow your company culture, and so that you have very satisfied customers. And then the revised pre-construction conference checklist, and the pre-construction conference contract, that becomes part of the proposal contract. That's stated in the legalese of it. Change order contract, and the revised first day checklist. So there's a lot there, and hope that those of you who aren't premium members will consider joining just to get this. It's well worth the price of admission. So let's go back to our Trello card, and the next item is miscellaneous info. Anything else that you want to hand off to production. It can be observations, it can be maybe you've observed some pet peeves they have, or something to be forewarned about, advice, things to do, things not to do. Put those here. If you don't think they belong on the contact info card, you can put them here. And it's things the designer wants to hand off to production and to tell them that these are things you need to be aware of. And finally, the first day checklist. These are the items you need to bring on the first day of the job, and this makes the first day work very well. It's so important that the first day is as perfect as possible, because that sets a precedent for the rest of the job. And so if you will take this checklist form and revise it to what you need. You may want to make one for whole house renovations, one for bathrooms, one for kitchens. These are the items you want to bring when you come to that job, and it's very handy to have. A lot of times you can't think of everything, but having these things with you and available makes your day start well, and you can get a lot done on that first day. Impress the customer. So that finishes this board. It's simple. There's a lot of contracts to it, but it is also very useful, and that's why I gave handoff to production a whole board of itself, because this is where the contracts are going to stay. They don't need to move into the next board. And the next board I'm going to show you is the rough-in board. So that's when you're doing your rough-in. You've started your job now and you're doing your rough-in. All the things that you need to be aware of and check off as you do your rough-in. There's rough-in, trim-out board, the wrap-up board, that is the final days of the job, and then the post-project board. Those are the four more that we're going to go over. So I hope you'll join me on those, and I'll have them up soon, and any contracts within them will be available to at least all the premium members. So I will see you next time. Thank you and so long. This is Randall Souls with Scientific Remodeling Systems.